Thank you again, everyone. Again, my name is Adejisola Atiba. I will be your host today. And we're going to go into the program right off the bat. So we will have the land acknowledgement. I will just share my screen and call on our volunteers that will be reading the land acknowledgement. The English version will be read by Oriofeoluwa Dimeji. Please be ready to take it away.
So as we gather here today via virtual platforms, we recognize that we are in many different places across Canada and Turtle Island. So we want to honor, respect, and acknowledge the land that we are on. Because we're all in different locations, and we ask that you acknowledge the land that you are on. So for where I am sitting or standing currently, I acknowledge that the land is the territory. The Mississaugas is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, to the Attawandaron, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis. These lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. And on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walked before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist.
Thank you very much, Christine. Oshoboge, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead and read the French. Thank you.
Halton, tel que nous la connaissons aujourd'hui, est riche de l'histoire et des traditions modernes de nombreuses Premières Nations et Métis, des Anishinaabe aux Adirondacks, en passant par les Haudenosaunee et les Métis. Ces terres entourant les Grands Lacs sont ancrées dans l'histoire autochtone. Alors que nous nous réunissons aujourd'hui sur ces terres de traité, nous avons la responsabilité d'honorer et de respecter les quatre directions: la terre, les eaux, les plantes, les animaux, les ancêtres qui ont marché avant nous et tous les merveilleux éléments de la création qui existent. Nous tenons à reconnaître et à remercier la Première Nation Mississaugas of the Credit d'avoir partagé son territoire traditionnel avec nous. Merci tout le monde.
Thank you very much, Oshoboge. And I apologize again for the technology. My computer seems to have crashed, so I'll be talking through my phone. So again, this is African Caribbean Council of Halton, and this event is Fireside Chat with MPP candidates. And today we have the honor of hosting the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario today. And in our midst, we have a lot of dignitaries, and I will start with the Honorable Minister Pam Gill, who is the Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism. A very, very good friend is also online, MPP Effie Triantafylopoulos. She represents Oakville North Burlington. And of course, we have the MPP Stephen Crawford, who represents Oakville. Before I get them to speak, just for 1 minute, I'm going to call on Edosa Adams Udode, who is an ACCH board member and an avid volunteer in the community, a lawyer by profession, to actually just give us a brief introduction on ACCH, who we are, what we do. Just because of time, Edosa, 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Abba, and I just want to wish everyone a warm welcome to this very important discussion for today. We all know that ACCH, our vision is to advocate, build, empower, and strengthen our African Caribbean community. Why we are talking about the next coming election is important as an advocacy group for us to hear from officials who are going in for very, very important positions that would decide the rights of the community in the region of Halton. So we're asking everyone to please listen attentively. This is a recorded version. We're asking everyone to please bear with us with respect to the time slot given to us, but our vote is our power. And as community members, we strongly believe that when we hear from the representatives and hear what they have to offer, then we can be in a better position to make an informed decision of who to vote for. So this is very important as part of ACCH advocacy. And I want to welcome everyone again for joining us today. And I thank you for your enduring patience, given the technical challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adosa. And again, the plan was for us to have the event for 2 hours, but because of other things that MPPs and minister has on their agenda, we actually have to wrap it up as soon as possible. I'm aware that Honorable Minister Pam Gill will have to leave in the next 14 minutes. And so I will give everyone 2 minutes to talk about who they are. We believe that the best person to talk about you or even introduce yourself is yourself. And so we will give you each 2 minutes to talk about who you are, what you have done, because all these people on today are actually in the position as of today. And so what update, who you are, what you've done, how you've impacted the community, and what we should look forward to. So please, I'm going to pass it on to Honorable Minister Pam Gill right now to give us about 2 minutes, intro into, who you are and what you want our community to know. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Lady Ava, for the introduction and the opportunity. I want to thank everyone for joining and appreciate the engagement. This is obviously important that everyone has an opportunity to obviously listen to what myself and two of my colleagues, Crawford and Effie, have to say. And, it's obviously been an honor for myself personally to be able to represent our community of Milton, part of Halton, at Queen's Park as part of Premier Ford's government. And, reading through some of the core values of African Caribbean Council of Halton, I couldn't help but draw many parallels with, the ministry that I have the honor of representing and the mandate that has been given to me, of course, by the Premier. Obviously the items such as advocacy and meaningful change, supporting inclusive community, building and strengthening the African Caribbean community culture and education. Obviously Premier Ford saw the need to have a standalone ministry that represents also some of these values, and proud to be able to share, some of the investment that we have been making across Ontario when it comes to doubling the anti-racism, anti-hate grant from $1.6 million to $3.2 million, $1.5 million investment in new business resource hub to help employers, $5 million in the first of its kind, what we refer to as RAISE grant, which is racialized and indigenous support for entrepreneurs, $25 million to help protect the faith-based and cultural organizations against hate, Black Youth Action Plan, a total funding in the tune of $60 million. Obviously I can go on, and I know time is limited, but especially in terms of, locally in Milton, it's been an honor, and, making investments such as in our education system. Was pleased to announce, obviously, brand new university that's coming to Milton, Conestoga College. Then since June 2018, I've announced 9 brand new schools, 5 expansions, investment worth roughly $250 million in capital alone. I can go on and on, obviously, in terms of infrastructure, expansion of Highway 401, new Highway 413 that's also coming, and so forth. But I'll pass it on to my colleagues to be able to, obviously do their introduction, and happy to take any questions after that. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for keeping it short and sweet, and for telling us all the things that you've done and continue to do. And so I'm going to pass it on to MPP Effitrento Philippoulis. Please, you have the floor. 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm very pleased to join you today to discuss some of the important issues that you hold dear as the African and Caribbean communities in Halton. And I want to thank the Council and your leadership for inviting me, along with my colleagues, Minister Gill and MPP Stephen Crawford, to speak with you today. As you know, we've got an important date and an important choice coming up on June the 2nd, and we will be choosing who will govern Ontario for the next 4 years. So the choices we make will affect the education of our kids, the healthcare of our parents and grandparents, and how much money we will have in our pocketbooks at the end of the week. I know that for anyone participating today, these are important issues for you as they are for all working families in Ontario. But we also know that there are some issues that affect Ontario's African and Caribbean residents more than others, and we must address them. In my work with your council over the past years, it's been very helpful to me to hear from you about your concerns and in particular about Black youth and their future. It's also been a pleasure to be invited by you to celebrate occasions such as Black History Month. And we all agree that Black History Month should not only be in February, but be recognized every month of the year. So one of my key priorities is to ensure that every person gets the chance at an equal share in our society. And that means access to good education and training, a prosperous economy, and services that we need and deserve. Minister Gill has mentioned many of the investments that the Premier and the government have been doing, so I won't go into a lot of them, but I will say that I actually don't quite rival him in the number of schools invested in my community, but I have to say that we are also approved 5 new schools in Oakville, North Burlington in the past 4 years. We've also expanded the Skills Development Fund, and tuition fees have been frozen for post-secondary education. As well as Minister Gill talked about, there is a fund that has been doubled. It's an extra $60 million over 3 years so that Black youth have equal access, and that's through the Black Youth Action Plan. So I think moving forward, we'd like to work with you closely. It's important that we all recognize unequivocally that there is no place for racism in Ontario. There's no tolerance for it, frankly, in a culturally diverse province like Ontario. So I'm happy to speak with you and take your questions and work alongside you to achieve the kind of opportunities that all Black and Caribbean citizens of the province, and certainly a future for youth, deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. You touch on so many important things that we actually run with at ACCH, but I will give the floor to MPP Stephen Crawford to do his own introduction before we actually go into questions or comments that we all might have. Thank you so very much. Over to you, sir, MPP Stephen Crawford.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight. And we're very fortunate to have Minister Gill in our region of Halton as the minister responsible. So I know he touched on a few important issues. I'll leave that for him, and I'll be brief just so we allow a little bit more time for the minister to speak before we go. But I've served the town of Oakville as the MPP for Oakville for 4 years now. I come from the private sector and have a lovely family of 4 children. And really why I entered public service was I really deeply love our country. And it's a wonderful country with wonderful opportunities. And I like to focus on the positive. Now, having said that, there are things we can do better. And that's why I entered government. That's why I ran for public service, was to see that we leave a better province for our kids and our grandkids. And that's better economically, it's better socially. We want to eliminate any forms of discrimination. We want to have a prosperous future and a caring future. No matter if somebody is 90 years old and requires long-term care, or a newborn, or a family, or having an education. So these are all important issues. And that's what government, I think, the government that we elect on June 2nd is so important, because there's so many different facets and things to look at when you make your decision. And I know both of my colleagues touched on a few of them, but I know that as a province, we are doing exceptionally well coming out of COVID. It's been a difficult, I think, couple of years for everybody. But I think when you put Ontario up to the rest of the jurisdictions within Canada and North America, I think we've come out strong. And I have a really optimistic view of the future of this great province. And I look forward to having a discussion with you all tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Really appreciate all the information that you provided in a very, very short while. The first question I have is actually going to be directed to the Honorable Minister Gill. What do you want newcomers to Canada, immigrants of the African Caribbean community to know about the PC party. And I say this because there's so much going on in our community. One of the things we hear when we come in is the PC party is not friendly to immigrants, especially from Africa. So what do you want us to know as the Minister for Citizenship and Multiculturalism?
Well, thank you very much, and appreciate the question. You know what I would say, honestly, to new immigrants that are immigrating to obviously a great province and a country, is that, you know, this truly is a land of opportunity. Listen, you have somebody before you who also immigrated to this country at a young age, at the age of 12, with a family, raised by a single mother of 4. And who would have thought, a young boy that immigrated would be, somebody who would first be elected to serve as part of the federal government as a member of parliament, and then serve as the member of provincial parliament here in Ontario, and be member of a cabinet and minister responsible for citizenship, multiculturalism, and also the anti-racism directorate. So the anti-racism file is also obviously under me. You know, the only thing I would say that obviously limits anybody, especially new immigrants that are, not shy of working hard to put food on the table and not only improve the lives of their immediate family, but also in a lot of cases are responsible for taking care of their loved ones, their family members, extended family, even back home. And that's obviously, no news to any immigrant that immigrates to this country. And what I would say, when it comes to the Ontario PC party, is that you have an ally in the Ontario, not just the PC party, but in the Ontario government. We are here to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity, regardless of your race, regardless of the color of your skin, or regardless of the religion. Everyone has an equal opportunity. And part of the reason, as I mentioned earlier, why Premier Ford created the standalone ministry, to make sure that not just, the African Caribbean community, but every community has a voice around the cabinet table. And they have an ally in also myself and my team as the ministry responsible for this. And the only thing holding any new immigrant back is honestly themselves. Otherwise, this is a country, this is a province that gives you an opportunity. Let's be honest, most of us would not enjoy, and wherever we have come from, or the country that we might be born from, or our background, we come here for a better future, not just for ourselves, but also our future generations, for our kids. And I'm a proud father of 3. I've got a daughter and I've got 2 boys. And I'm proud of the fact that obviously, this country gives them the opportunity to succeed, to prosper, and not only for their family, but also for the future generations. And as I mentioned earlier, allow them the opportunity to support, their loved ones or the extended family, even back home. So that's what I would say to that. Maybe it's a long answer. I apologize for the long answer, but I do get passionate about some of these things. Thank you.
No, it's not too long. It could be longer, but thank you so much. And passion is what we need. And everybody, I just want to throw that out there. We all know what is written on our plate numbers. The province of Ontario is yours to discover. And yes, apparently, the person speaking to us in the person of the minister is an immigrant. And here he is today, opportunities. So let's not stop ourselves. And again, I will stress the point that my colleague Edosa mentioned. Our vote is our power. This happens once every 4 years. One, you want to know the candidates.
Yes. And maybe, if I just may add, and honestly, and I'm proud to be part of one of the most diverse caucus in Ontario's history. Believe it or not, we obviously have individuals from all walks of life. And amongst our caucus colleagues, we speak 26 different languages in our caucus, if you can believe that. And I don't think there's another caucus or a party, across our country that can say the same thing.
Thank you so much for hiding that. But I do have a follow-up question for you. In our community, let's take COVID-19, for instance. We know that it affected us way more. If anything affects any community at all, we get the brunt of it. And you mentioned something that there is equal opportunity for all. What we want in our community is not equal opportunity for all, but equitable opportunity for all. Can you just shed light, because I know you gotta go. Oh, it's 6:30 already. Can you just shed some lights on how you're making things, equitable, how you will make things equitable for all?
Well, absolutely. And listen, I mean, we all know some of the challenges that Ontarians have gone through over the last 2 years when it comes to the pandemic, and especially the challenges that have been faced by, racialized communities, impacted disproportionately. Part of the reason why, we are making additional investments. So one of the things I did, obviously, once I was appointed as a minister, and look at ways of how we can help individuals in the racialized community, and why we announced the $5 million, what I referred to as earlier in my opening remarks as the RAISE grant. And that RAISE grant,
It so happens that technology just doesn't want to work today, but we're going to make the best of it.
funding.
So please go ahead.
Yeah. So, to address some of these, the other thing I have been doing as obviously the minister responsible for this particular file is conducting very comprehensive consultation with community leaders right across our province to look at ways in terms of what is it that we can do to help immigrants, to help small businesses owned by immigrants, and also our youth, to make sure that they have equal opportunity, make sure that they are set on a path to success. And we will continue to do that. And this is a wonderful opportunity. Obviously, what we're doing today is having those discussions. And let's hope that we can continue these discussions so we can continue to make a meaningful impact in the lives of our future generations as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Pam Gill. You were cut off a little there. I think it was technology. But I'm not sure if you're still open to staying on to take questions, because I know you had a hard stop at 6:30, 6:33 right now. But
I do have, I can probably spare another 5 minutes, and then I do have to jump on another meeting online. So I can probably, I'm good for another 5 minutes or so.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. So on this note, I'm actually going to pass it on to Akikumi Akiyemi. Can you please check in the chat, do we have any questions in the chat, or does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask the minister and the MPPs?
Thank you, Lady Abba. Right now, we don't have any question in the chat, and I believe if anyone has any question, they can simply raise their hand and we can give them the floor. Okay, so I have Olumide Hido here who has his hand raised. So, Mr. Olumide,
hi, thanks for
take the floor.
Okay. Hi, thanks for the opportunity, and to all the representatives of the PC party. I'm also a member, I'm a proud member of the party, but I'm also much more committed to my community than even the PC party. My concern really is that when the PC party came into government, there was very high expectation on the issue of insurance. There's always been recurrent promises that the province was going to do something to relieve families about the burden of insurance, and Ontario has a very bad rap in the whole of Canada. What is the PC party doing to change the story about recurrent promises that never happens? Thanks. Sorry, when I say insurance, I mean auto insurance, please.
Well, I'm happy to take that. I'm not sure if any of my colleagues want to chime in as well. What I would say to that is of course, we recognize, the auto insurance premiums are one of the highest, obviously, in Ontario, in the country. That's no secret. But I think what we also need to look at the same time is some of the other provinces. Let's just use Quebec for an example, or British Columbia, or the provinces that might seem like they have a lower premiums, but sometimes we don't necessarily compare apples with apples. So the benefits that are available that are regulated in the province of Ontario, especially when it comes to accident benefits and some of the liability insurance that requirements, are obviously the threshold and the requirements are much higher compared to other provinces. But at the same time, our government has been trying to streamline and find efficiencies when it comes to auto insurance policies. Why we've been encouraging, and we have been, trying to get other insurance companies to come into the province of Ontario. So we have obviously more competition. The premiums need to come down, absolutely, and they have been coming down. If you notice, especially in the last year or so, we've seen a significant decrease where, originally the region of Peel or Brampton was sort of seen as one of the capital when it comes to the highest insurance premiums. And Brampton is, for instance, no longer, the highest jurisdiction, even in our province of Ontario. And the premiums have come down in tune of 15 to 20%. And drivers are noticing that. And also providing more choice to drivers. So now we also have another option that the drivers can use as a pay-as-you-go. So if individuals obviously are not driving their car as much, or seniors and so forth, they have the opportunity to use a pay-as-you-go option as well, where, if you're only taking your car out on a weekend to go to a church or, grocery shopping, and you're not going to work, you're not driving 100, 150 kilometers a day, you will not be penalized. You will not be forced to pay premiums, as anybody else. So, obviously this does fall under the Minister of Finance. It's a department that has obviously a far more information than somebody like me. But obviously, it's an issue that touches a lot of people across the province. We recognize that, and we have been working to address this concern. I'm not sure if either Effie or Stephen has anything to add.
Well, I would just, that was a pretty, I think, thorough answer, Minister Gill. But what I would add to that is that our government is trying to make life more affordable for automobile drivers. So along with being able to make a few changes which have lowered marginally, but still lowered some insurance rates, we've also been able to eliminate the license stickers, renewal stickers, and that's a huge direct savings to every single person with a vehicle in this province. I'm telling you, that has had a tremendous impact on folks right across the province. We've also eliminated the tolls on the 412 and 418. I know that doesn't affect us directly here in Halton, but if you happen to drive out in the East End, that certainly helps there as well. So we are certainly making life more affordable. We've also lowered the gas tax by 10 cents a liter as well. Now, gas has obviously gone up because of some instances which are out of our control, and they're geopolitical in nature and supply and demand, but we have, reduced. They would even be higher had we not done that. So along with the insurance, we've certainly looked at a few other areas in the auto sector to help drivers and commuters here in this province.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister and MPP Crawford. I don't know if MPP, if we Philopolis want to add anything to this, or we go to the next question.
Happy to go to the next question.
Awesome, thank you. Aki, anybody else raise their hand?
No one else for now. Okay, I have Christine McIntosh raise her hand, so you have the floor.
Thank you. So this is for any of you to answer. So in Ontario, and I know MPP Effie, we have had these conversations in the past, but in Ontario, students are being discouraged and streamed into applied fields when they could very easily excel in academic streams. And education is really important, obviously, for our youth, same with representation. So this practice of streaming is heavily disadvantaged Black students. So has the party adopted any policies that are intentional about diversity? No?
I guess I can start out. I'll just start out, and then I'll be very short because I know Minister Gill is very limited in time, and he wants to have a word or two in. But we did actually, Minister Lecce removed the streaming for grade 9. I'm I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but that's something our government actually did.
That I was not. So mine is just moved to university, just the first year. So in grade 9, she was part of this, but thank you. I did not know that.
Yes, yeah, we're the first government to actually do that. So that was Minister Lecce that announced that some time ago.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the same thing. Thank you, FPP Crawford, for mentioning that. And the only thing I would say is, honestly, like, as I mentioned earlier, this is a work in progress. I mean, all of us have a role, all of us have a responsibility to work together to make sure that we eliminate any and all barriers that exist, especially when it comes to Black, Indigenous, other racialized, whether it's students or community members. So dialogue like this, having the information and figuring out what some of the issues and concerns are, very, very important. To me personally, of course, as the minister responsible for the multiculturalism file and the anti-racism file, but also I know it's important to every single one of my caucus colleagues, including FE and Crawford.
I'm more informed. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I just want to quickly add to the streaming. My understanding was that the streaming was done just for math. Has it been done for every other subjects?
It was math, that's correct. And that was
Okay.
Implemented in September 2021.
Okay. So are there,
I think that's my understanding, and we'd have to talk to the minister specifically, but that's seemed to be where the biggest issue was, but that's certainly a good start.
It is a good start because believe you me, I know of a lady that wrote a book about her experience, and this person is close to 60 now. She told her guidance counselor that she wanted to be a lawyer, but the guidance counselor actually moved her to the part of paralegal. She's been doing paralegal for so long. Now, in the past 3 years, she went into law school. So she's doing what she would have done originally, not because she couldn't do it, but because she was just strained because of the color of her skin. And it's good to know that, math, the minister started with math, but it would be nice to make sure that all the subjects are actually, done instead of just one, because I had the same problem. My son just graduated about 2 years ago. He was told, you're not good enough for academics. And I insisted because as his mom, I have multiple degrees and master's degrees. And so telling me that my son is not good enough, and most of our parents, that's the story. Yeah. That's our story. So the earlier this is actually looked into, the better for everyone. So there won't be, again, to Honorable Minister Pam Gill's point, that making sure that all barriers are removed, this is one barrier that we know will actually have a positive impact in our community. I don't know if there is any other question.
I have Madam Medusa and Mr. Habib Salami raised their hand. So Madam Medusa had her hand raised first.
Lady Eva, if I may, sorry to interrupt, but it is just about 6:45. I do have to jump on another call, unfortunately. So I want to thank all of you for the opportunity. I'm around. My office is around. If there's anything come to mind, please feel free to reach out to my office, myself, and happy to answer any questions. Again, thank you for the opportunity. You have very capable and competent two of my colleagues that will obviously continue on and will answer any question. Thank you, Effie. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Lady Abba, and thank you to everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. Yeah.
On this question or this topic that we are on right now, I have a little bit of information as well that I could add that might be helpful. And it's good for us to have this dialogue, because obviously the government makes announcements on a number of initiatives, and clearly sometimes the information isn't communicated adequately for people to be aware of them. One of the other programs that the government initiated in the last couple of years was something called a graduation coach program. And in this particular program, $2.94 million was invested. And the purpose of the program is for Black students to be able to hire graduation coaches to assist them as they are and give them some mentorship as they're looking for going on to further academic achievement or looking to do a career in skills. So this is something else that's already been implemented by the Ministry of Education. So it started in 2021, 2022, and then there's been additional multi-year funding added for 2022, 23. And I understand since the fall of 2019, 1,000 students have benefited from this particular mentorship and this coaching.
Thank you very much for that information.
Okay, so I'll give the floor to Mr. Happy Salami. I think he has.
Yeah, thank you so much. Unfortunately, the minister left, and I was actually going to direct the question to him. So when he was making one of his remarks, he said the only thing holding anyone back is yourself. In our community, I know I've seen so many educated and qualified individuals. At the same time, the level, the ground is not level. So people have so many opportunities and they cannot actualize their dream because of the color of their skin. So my question is, and I know MPPFA and MPP Crawford can shed some light on this. How can we be part of that group of people that will be beneficial with the not only equal right, the equitable right for everyone, so that we're not even, I've seen so many people qualified and still it's not because they're not trying enough. Because when the minister was saying that the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. So I kind of have difficulty in believing that. It's not only yourself holding yourself back, because we're trying, but the system is not allowing. So can you please shed some light on that? Thank you.
Sure, I could start out with that, and then my colleague could perhaps speak after me. I mean, one thing I'm proud of is the Premier created a Council of Equal Opportunity. And it was really focused on youth, because I think, youth is where we need to have the impact going forward. They are our future. And he created this council with young people from across the province to discuss these exact issues. So I think that's a good starting point. I think government really creates the environment. And I don't think government in alone can do it. I think we need to collaborate with the private sector, with organizations like yours. I think it's a cross collaboration with organizations like yours, the private sector. We need to involve the private sector, because ultimately they drive jobs. They are part of our future. They are going to hire the youth that are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And I think government can play a role in facilitating that. I know recently we actually gave some funding to an organization called Support Ontario Youth, which helped a lot of youth from various communities, and really helping to educate them and make them aware about the opportunities in the skilled trades, where a lot of minority children are underrepresented. These are really high quality jobs. And there's just so much great opportunity there. And we're bringing this now to different parts of the province. And I know a few of the people in Oakville that are part of this organization, and they've told me about the success of this. So the government played a role in helping to fund this, but individuals, private sector groups formed an organization to be able to support the youth, because at the end of the day, it's about giving people opportunities and opening doors to people that might not know about what's behind these doors or how to get to those doors. And I think we can play a cross collaboration role there between all those different parties. And I would pass it off to my colleague if she had anything else to add.
I want to thank MPP Crawford for describing this, because I do agree it's a partnership that involves all stakeholders in order to bring awareness and education, and then also create change. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And it's only when we're actually speaking the way we are now, engaging in these conversations, that we're able to actually see the hurdles that other people may have that we're not aware of. And so I recognize very much, Abby, what you're saying, and I just think that having more of these forums, the council that the Premier has set up, more of these conversations will help us and help better inform us so that we actually recognize that the obstacles are there and that there has to be what I'd call different tools that we would bring to bear in order to solve them. One of the things I was going to comment on when Minister Gill was on, but he left before I got a chance to, was the comment that he was making about how diverse our MPP caucus is in the province of Ontario. And I hazard a guess that there's never been a government more diverse in its representation than our government. And it's very much led by the vision of Premier Ford. And we have a number of people who were born outside of Canada, yet sit as members of provincial parliament today, including myself, because I was born in Greece. As Minister Gill mentioned, he came here as a young man. And in the run-up to our election on June the 2nd, we have 6 candidates who are Black candidates who are standing for elected office for the PC Party of Ontario. So I just wanted to share that with you, just so that you know that there's 6 who are candidates who are running, one of whom is very well known, Mark Saunders. He's obviously the former Toronto police chief, and he's running in Don Valley West. And another lady, Charmaine Williams, she's from Brampton Centre, and she's a Brampton City Councillor. So I want you to know that progress is being made, and some of these barriers are coming down. And then they also are going to be able to be incredible role models to the Black youth, so that they see that this is an opportunity that they also might be able to have one day, should they wish to seek elected office, whether it's at the municipal level, the provincial level, or the federal level.
If I could add very quickly too, I know we talked earlier about, I think it may have been the same question about immigrants, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but our government recently put through legislation which is going to speed up the process of immigrants that come to Canada that may have excellent credentials that aren't utilizing them here properly. We have so many people that are literally doctors, nurses, plumbers, you name it, and they can't utilize their skills. We put through legislation just recently with the Minister Monty McNaught that's going to speed up that process, because we want to utilize everybody. And even from people from out of province, where before it used to take months, now they're going to be able to get, if you're an electrician, for example, in Alberta or Manitoba, within 30 days, you'll be recertified here in Ontario. We believe in the Ontario dream of everyone coming here, whether it's from outside of Canada or within Canada, but wanting to contribute and wanting to reach their potential. So that's something we very much believe in. And I think that aligns with, I think everybody, but immigrants as well.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that the Minister of Labour said that there may be something like 330,000 skilled jobs available without the people to fill them today in the province of Ontario. So we have to be able to match the employees, get them the kind of skill training they need to be able to fill those positions.
Yeah, the good news is I think we're a victim of our own success. I think coming out of COVID, our economy is much stronger than projected, and we've created an environment. The government's job, in my view, is not to create jobs. It's to create an environment for opportunity. And we've had the biggest investments. For example, I was down in Windsor 3 weeks ago, and Stellantis, former Chrysler, is doing a $5 billion investment. It's the largest automobile investment in Canadian history. They're going to be building electric batteries there. We're also, of course, retooling the Ford automotive plant right here at Oakville. So we have a need for immigration. And we've been lobbying the federal government to get more immigrants here. The federal government controls immigration. I know that Premier Ford has talked to Justin Trudeau and the federal ministers about, we need more people here. We've got, we're turning Ontario around. Our economy is doing extremely well now after COVID, and we need more immigrants here that are going to, contribute to our success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the answers. Akin, you said Edosa raised her hand?
Edosa, yep, you have the floor. Sorry, we can't hear you. Okay, I'm just going to message her so she can know we cannot hear her. We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I was just trying to unmute myself.
Okay.
I think I'm so happy to hear that what we're discussing here with respect to immigration and education, which are very critical issues in our economy. And I know the government is only a conduit to providing an enabling environment. And I think the issue of immigration has been consistently Canada's power tool in terms of bringing people here. But I think beyond that, let me give myself as an example. Let's assume I came into Canada last month and the elections are coming up. How would you convince me as a new person coming to Canada that I should vote for the PC party? And I'm saying this based on my background from a country where politicians just talk to get your vote and do nothing. It's important to know that people are coming from lived experiences, right? So how would you convince me, who just came last month, that, you know what, this is the party to vote for? Because as Lady Abba had rightly said, I think the Liberal Party have been able to provide sort of an attractive base to say we are the immigrant party. But the purpose of this live discussion is for people to really understand and get to know more about the various opportunities and options available to them in terms of their power to vote. And I know a new immigrant may not have the right to vote, is only a Canadian citizen. So I stand to declare a new Canadian citizen who was just sworn in. How would they, be persuaded that this is the party I should vote for, not somebody who just migrated, a Canadian citizen that is new? Thank you.
Well, I guess I could start with that. I think proof is in the pudding. And, you are correct. There are a lot of other countries, unfortunately, and that don't have these democratic values. And I know my wife herself is an immigrant from a country where they don't have free and fair elections. And there's a skepticism of all politicians. I think the Progressive Conservative Party track record speaks for itself. I think what we've done for the economy, what we've done for low-income workers, just today in the budget, we have reduced the taxes on the lowest income people in this province. We have lowered the rate, the low-income tax benefit for low-income individuals. I think that's going to spur the economy. I think what we've done with the credentials, foreign credentials, and how we're going to speedline and bring in more immigrants here, I think what benefits all of our society is what we've done with respect to transportation. We have the biggest investment in transportation infrastructure in the history of Canada. We are building more two-way GO service. You're probably aware of the subway plans we have that have already just started throughout Scarborough and all throughout Toronto. It's going to be incredible. We're building highways where we need them to get people from A to B quicker. On the flip side, we're also protecting our environment. We have done Greenbelt consultations is adding the most land to the Greenbelt since the Greenbelt was founded. In Oakville, we're adding the 14 Mile Creek to the Greenbelt. We've preserved the Glen Abbey Golf Course. This is something that benefits everyone. And I think, and Effie would agree with me, I'm sure, the residents of Oakville, it didn't matter your political stripe. It didn't matter whether you're Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Green, whether you're black, white, or a new immigrant, or male, female. The overwhelming majority of them really wanted to preserve the Glen Abbey green space because of the importance to our community. And they sent thousands of emails to our offices, and we worked so hard representing these people to the Premier directly, to the point where the Premier and Minister Clark listened to what Effie and I were saying, and we're able to preserve this green space for the benefit of all of us. So I think that's an example of representative democracy where the people have their say. So I'm running again because I love this country. I think we've done a phenomenal job through COVID and through the difficult times. There's been bumps along the road, like every government anywhere. But I think Ontario at the end of the day has come out strong. But going forward, we need a strong economy so that we can fund the programs that the people need, whether it's in education or healthcare. And I think we're on that track.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just have two questions. I know we're at 7. So if you can just spend 30 seconds or 1 minute on each of them. And the two questions relate to grant and how we might help. So we have heard a lot of monies being, talked about. And when you talk to the not-for-profits in the African Caribbean communities, what they say is we apply, we don't get it. And these are grants that are supposed to be for the community. So how would you be able to help when you get back to office? Because I know time is of essence now. And the second thing is, if there's anybody in our community that would like to help the PC party, some of the candidates, what can they do? Thank you.
Oh, perhaps I'll let Effie start.
Thank you so much for the offer of help. Volunteers are the lifeblood of political campaigns. And I think that it doesn't matter whether you're a high school student, a university student, or someone that's working full time. I think anyone who is not engaged in a political campaign, I encourage you all to join one. There's a lot of camaraderie, there's a lot of friendships that develop, and you really are experiencing grassroots politics. And so ultimately, when you're part of a campaign and you're able to successfully elect the candidate of your choice to become the MPP or the MP, there's a lot of satisfaction in being part of that process. And so I would welcome anyone who would like to get involved. What you would do is you would just simply communicate with the campaign office of the candidate that lives in your constituency, whether in Stephen's case, it's Oakville. In my case, it's Oakville, North Burlington. In Minister Gill's case, it's Milton. And then just join the team. And there are an awful lot of jobs available to be had. You can offer 1 hour a week or 1 hour a day, or even more time than that. So it's really a wonderful experience, and certainly that's how I got engaged as a volunteer many years ago. And here I am today. I have the opportunity to be, an immigrant myself from Greece, and I'm elected as a member of provincial parliament. So thank you for that particular question.
Yeah, I would just add that we're open. We have a great volunteer team. It's incredibly diverse, my team. I mean, if you come out to any of our events, one of my top volunteers is a Nigerian Canadian. We have Pakistanis. We have incredible number of Chinese people. We have such a diverse group of people, and we share common values. That's what really brings us together. And I'd be happy to have anybody that lives in our riding work with us, and I'll give you my cell phone number. You can always text me if you live in the riding of Oakville and you'd like to help. It's 437-999-5440. I'll say it one more time, 437-999-5440. That's my personal cell phone, and happy to talk to anybody. And to your first question as well about any sort of grants, I mean, we are the representatives of our community. So anytime, if you're ever applying for something in the future and you'd like to talk to us, and by all means, give us a call. We really enjoyed, I enjoy meeting with the African Caribbean Council of Halton. I find you incredibly warm people. And I just really enjoy spending time with you. And so we're always open to talking. And I apologize about tonight, but we had to cut a little bit short, but with the budget today, we had another mandatory meeting we had to attend. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm glad we were at least able to get together.
And I would just like
go ahead. That I know that sometimes applying for various grants can be rather complicated and complex. So the grants applications that we put out recently, we've tried to make as simplified as possible. But having said that, our offices are there to assist you. So if there is any grant that you wish to apply for, please don't hesitate to get in touch with Stephen or I, and we will assist you in actually preparing it, because we have funds set aside that we actually want to be utilized. We don't want to have to see the funds sitting there unutilized. So please, if you're not getting through and your applications are not being successful, let us help you be able to have a successful application.
Absolutely, and we're biased. We love Oakville and Burlington, so we're going to push for you.
Absolutely. And I'd like to give you my phone number as well, because I got a equal time with MPP Crawford here. It's 905-467-3769.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. At African Caribbean Council of Halton, we don't believe in staying in the corner and just complaining. We believe that we're part of the solution, and that is why we do what we do. So I want to pass it on to Niyi Olusoga to give us the closing remarks so that you can be on your way.
Sorry,
Thank you so much for your time. Oh,
hello.
Yeah, we have someone
please.
here. You can just take one
Please
more
go
question.
ahead.
He has been raising his hand several times. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my hand has been up for a while. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sure. You can just make it real quick. So yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So quick question, just a follow-up to, Minister Crawford had talked about the internationally trained immigrants. What was launched as, I believe I saw it a couple of weeks back. My question is, what are the specifics, right? What are the specifics? How do we assess, or how do they assess or know what to do in terms of the actualization of what's has been launched a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, so it was a recent legislation, literally just passed a few weeks ago. So what happens when we pass the legislation is we pass the legislation, then it takes a bit of time to fill in the exact regulations, like the real specifics of the legislation. So that's being worked on right now by the Government of Ontario in consultation. If you reach out to my office, my MPP office, we could certainly send you what we have on it to date. But I believe the regulations are being worked on. It will probably take a few months before they finalize all, dot the I's and cross the T's. It's just the general legislation has passed though.
Okay, just a quick one, last one. Part of the challenge we have as a community is that we've seen that most good projects are, they are launched, but because sometimes we feel that we don't have representation in those areas, in those projects, so our voices are not heard. So you put somebody in a project where they don't have the experience or they didn't go through the grind, and so the person comes up with, certain things that don't really benefit those that are supposed to benefit. I don't know if you get my feel.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay, let me repeat. Let me just break it down. Okay, so you're saying these are internationally trained, for internationally trained immigrants. Now, the people behind these projects, I'm just giving hypothetical. Some of them, they're not immigrants. Some of them don't understand what it takes to go through the process of integration into the Canadian society. So they've not had that experience. Now you put those people in that position, and they are not able to really, help those they're supposed to help. You get the point now. So I'm not saying it's PC party. I'm just saying generally. That's some of the experiences we've seen in Canada. Generally, have projects that are supposed to benefit certain group of people, and then they put people there that don't have, experience of what these people go through. So how can they really be of help to those guys? So that's just what I'm trying to highlight here.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Well, and thanks for that feedback. I know that one of the other barriers that we've heard from people is about not having Canadian experience. So how do you get in the door? How do you get that first job if they're demanding Canadian experience? And so that's another thing that we are removing going forward. So that also will help a lot of people, because you may have very deep, relevant experience in the country of your origin, but if it's not recognized in Canada, you're basically starting from the beginning. So that's something else we're tackling as well.
So thank you so much, MPP Effie Triantafylopoulos. Thank you, MPP Stephen Crawford. In the interest of time, we really need to go. If we do have any other question, we will pass it along via email. And so, Mr. Niyi Olusoga, are you there? Could you please give us the closing remarks?
Thank you very much, MPP Effie Triantafylopoulos, MPP Pam Grill, MPP Crawford, Lady Abba, Mr. Abisalami, Lady Adosa, Christian McIntosh, and everybody that was able to attend. We really enjoyed this session. We learned a lot. Apologies for the initial computer glitch, and we understand a lot of of the issues that were discussed. I mean, highlights were dialogue about inclusion, the Ministry of Education introducing a graduate coach program of 2.9 million grants, and over 1,000 people have been able to enjoy and benefited from that. Council of Equal Opportunity has been created, especially targeted towards the youth. Cross collaboration needs to work more with government and people, and more colored participation in election is well encouraged. Not 6 is a very low number, but we'll have to do more on our side to get that number up. You know, government legislations to speed up immigration process, especially in regards to jobs, and the MPP Crawford answered the questions that I mean, they've got a good track record, so new voters shouldn't have any doubts in them to put them back in power, you know. And then for the grants as well, the offices are always open for grants application processes to assist with that. Many more that we took on today, and we really appreciate your time and believe in you guys, and definitely hope to see you guys again. We got your phone numbers, so anybody that wants to get across to volunteer would send a text 101. Thank you so much for your time for this evening, and hope that we could rely on you anytime we call upon you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to be with you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And,
Have a good evening.
Enjoy the sunny night we have for a change.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Will
you.
do.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep in
Bye.
touch. Bye-bye.